I still remember the moment everything changed. Not with a confession, not with a touch, but with a question that shattered every wall I had built around myself. It was late, the office nearly empty, the soft hum of fluorescent lights buzzing like a warning I refused to hear. My boss stood across from me, her voice trembling in a way I had never heard before, and she asked, "Why won't you look at me?" And the truth was something I had been running from for months. Before we go deeper into this story, take a moment. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, in the quiet battles people fight every day, please like this video, share it with someone who needs it, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this deserve to be heard. Her name was Victoria Hayes, strong, composed, and impossibly distant, the kind of leader people admired but never truly knew. I was just an employee, another name on payroll, another face in a sea of cubicles in a busy marketing firm in Chicago. My name is Nathan Cole, and I had mastered the art of staying invisible. At least, I thought I had. The first time I noticed something different about her was on a rainy Tuesday morning. The kind of rain that makes the city feel heavy, like even the sky is tired. I arrived early, soaked from the walk, hoping to slip into my desk unnoticed, but she was already there, standing by the glass window of her office, staring out as if the world outside had answers she couldn't find inside. There was something fragile about her that day, something human. She turned when she heard me, and for a brief second, our eyes met. That moment felt longer than it should have, like time hesitated. I quickly looked away, pretending to organize papers that didn't need organizing. That was the first time I avoided her gaze. It wouldn't be the last. Weeks passed, and small interactions began to pile up like quiet confessions neither of us spoke aloud. She would call me into her office for work discussions, but her tone always carried something more, something softer, almost hesitant. I would keep my eyes fixed on the documents, the laptop screen, anything that wasn't her, because every time I looked at her, something shifted inside me. I wasn't supposed to feel that way. She was my boss. She lived in a world of confidence and authority, while I barely managed to keep my life together outside of work. My apartment was small, my bank account smaller, and my past was something I never talked about. I had learned early on that getting too close to people only led to disappointment. My father walked out when I was 10. My mother worked herself into exhaustion trying to fill the silence he left behind. And me, I became someone who expected nothing, so I wouldn't have to feel everything when it inevitably went wrong. But Victoria, she made that distance harder to maintain. One evening she asked me to stay late to help finish a project. The office emptied out one by one until it was just the two of us, surrounded by the quiet echo of keyboards and distant traffic. I focused on my work, typing faster than necessary, as if speed could protect me from the tension building in the room. She stood up suddenly and walked closer. I could feel her presence before I saw her. "Why won't you look at me?" she asked. Her voice wasn't commanding this time. It wasn't the voice of a boss giving instructions. It was something else, something vulnerable, almost wounded. I froze. My hands stopped moving. The silence stretched between us, thick and unyielding. And then, without planning it, without filtering it, I said the one thing I'd been hiding from myself. "Because when I do, I forget you're my boss." The words hung in the air like a confession neither of us could take back. I expected anger, maybe disappointment, maybe even a cold reminder of boundaries I had crossed without permission. But instead, there was silence. Slowly, I looked up. Her eyes weren't angry, they were searching. And for the first time, I realized she had been struggling too. She sat down across from me, her composure slipping just enough to reveal the person beneath the title. She told me things I never expected to hear, that leadership had made her lonely, that people respected her but never truly saw her, that every relationship she tried to build outside of work eventually fell apart because no one could separate her from her position. "I thought you were different," she admitted quietly. That sentence hit harder than anything else, because I'd been trying so hard to stay distant that I hadn't realized I was hurting her in the process. From that moment on, everything changed, but not in the way people imagine. There were no sudden romances, no dramatic declarations. Instead, there was something slower, more complicated, and far more real. We began to talk, not as boss and employee, but as two people carrying their own weight. We shared stories, fears, and pieces of ourselves we had kept hidden for years. But with that closeness came a new challenge. The office started noticing. Whispers spread like wildfire. Colleagues exchanged glances. Conversation stopped when we walked by, and suddenly, every interaction felt like it was under a microscope. I pulled away again. Not because I wanted to, but because I was afraid. Afraid that her reputation would be damaged. Afraid that I would become the reason people questioned her leadership. And just like that, the distance returned. She felt it immediately. One afternoon, she called me into her office again, but this time there was frustration in her eyes. Not anger, something deeper. "You're doing it again," she said softly. I didn't need to ask what she meant. I tried to explain, stumbling over my words, telling her it was better this way, that it would protect her, that people were already talking. But she shook her head. "Do you think I care about what they say?" she asked. "Or do you think I care about losing the one person who actually sees me?" That question broke something inside me. Because for the first time in my life, someone wasn't walking away. Someone wasn't choosing distance over connection. Someone was fighting to stay, and I didn't know how to handle that. Days turned into weeks, and the tension became unbearable. I avoided her again, burying myself in work, convincing myself it was the right thing to do, until the night everything almost ended. There was an important presentation the next day, and we were both working late again. But this time, the silence wasn't comfortable. It was heavy, filled with everything we weren't saying. At some point, she stopped working and just looked at me. I could feel it, even without meeting her gaze. "I can't keep doing this," she said. Her voice was steady, but there was pain beneath it. That was the moment I realized I was about to lose her, not because of the situation, but because of my own fear. So I did something I had never done before. I looked at her, really looked at her, and for once I didn't look away. I told her everything about my past, about my fears, about why I always ran when things started to matter. I told her that she scared me, not because of who she was, but because of how much she meant to me. The room felt smaller as I spoke, like the walls were closing in on every truth I had kept hidden. When I finished, there was silence again. But this time, it was different. She stood up, walked toward me, and stopped just close enough that I could feel the warmth of her presence. "You don't have to run anymore," she said gently, and for the first time in my life I believed it. If you've made it this far into the story, take a moment to comment "Second chances matter." It helps this story reach more people who might need to hear it. The road after that wasn't perfect. It was messy, complicated, and filled with moments of doubt. We had to set boundaries, navigate workplace dynamics, and face the judgment of others. But we also learned something powerful. That connection isn't about perfection, it's about choosing each other, even when it's hard. Months later, she stepped down from her position, not because she had to, but because she wanted a life where she could be more than just a title, a life where she could be seen, not just respected. And me, I finally stopped hiding. We built something real, something honest, something that didn't rely on roles or expectations. It all started with a question I was too afraid to answer, and the moment I finally did, everything changed. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of someone, or if it made you believe in the power of vulnerability and second chances, please like this video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe for more stories like this. Your support means everything.